What is up, college football fans? What is up, Clemson Tiger fans? Happy Sunday to everybody. I hope everybody's doing amazing and fantastic. I know that I am. It's a beautiful day here in Summerville, South Carolina. Clear and sunny and cold. And looking at the forecast in the future, I think the days of 70 and 80 degree mild days are pretty much over for the year. So buckle up for a cold one. But like I always say, it's a beautiful day to be above ground, and it's always a great day to be a Clemson Tiger. And speaking of being above ground, I want to take the chance real quick to acknowledge our good buddy Jeff Webster, who was a prominent figure in this college football YouTube community for years. He's been around as long as I've been around on here, as long as I can remember. And he passed away last Sunday, and condolences to his family, and we're going to miss him. So it's just a reminder, whenever a friend or a family member passes on, just how precious life is and how every day on this earth is a gift. So rest in peace to Jeff. And he was an Alabama fan, for those of you who don't know who he was. So in tribute to Jeff, I'll say it one last time. Roll, Tide, roll, buddy. We'll miss you. All right, so moving on to the game from yesterday. Clemson versus the Louisville Bird with Teeth in Death Valley yesterday afternoon. A lot of good things we saw yesterday, both offensively and defensively. But I tweeted out about an hour before kickoff, and this is no revelation or anything. I think a lot of people really feel the same way I do, is that we've learned that this offense runs through Will Shipley and Phil Mafah in the run game, and DJ to an extent as well. And that's what we saw yesterday. It was a dominant running performance by Clemson. I think there was 440 total yards of offense. 250 of those were rushing yards. And of course, we saw the big run by Shipley, where he hurdled the guy and bullied his way into the end zone. I mean, an amazing run. And then also Phil Mafah, who I think is way, way underrated in the grand scheme of college football as a running back. Busted off that 40-yard run. Just an amazing run by him. So when Clemson's running the football and running the football effectively, they're really hard to stop, which is, I don't want to go back and relive the Notre Dame thing. I'm not going to spend any time on that, but the fact that they didn't give Shipley and Mafah really the opportunity to run the ball against Notre Dame when they needed to the most still befuddles me. But hey, it is what it is. It's in the past. Time to move on. But outside of the run game for the Tigers, the bright spot has been all season and continues to be at receiver position, true freshman Antonio Williams. I mean, the guy balled out yesterday. Some of the play calling I have an issue with, but I just don't think there's a football game that a fan's going to watch ever and not have some sort of issue with some sort of play calling. So when you're executing, it's a lot easier to overlook those things. And when it falls flat on its face, it falls under a lot of criticism. And so that's the way it's been all season for Clemson. But I did like some things I saw in the play calling yesterday. They got really creative. I really like the idea of them putting Beeringstool out wide as a receiver. I mean, they did that, ran that play a few times yesterday, and it was successful. So the tight ends had a good game yesterday. Antonio Williams had a good game yesterday. And, of course, the two-headed monster at running back. And if you want to throw a DJ in there, that's fine too. Obviously, the turnover was not good. The fumble by DJ. I think it was worse, or not as bad, rather, as it looked, because it was sort of a weird thing, right? The lineman fell backwards onto DJ's leg awkwardly, kind of like sideways, and the ball just kind of slipped out of his hands whenever he was falling to the ground. So that was, an outlying fumble. It wasn't a bad fumble in my opinion. It's just kind of a fluke thing. So I don't really blame DJ too much for that. Defensively, look, there's some great players on this defense. We all know it. Throw the stats right out the window. I don't care what they're ranked in total defense and rushing defense, passing defense, third down. I don't even care. None of that matters to me. I want to speak on this. Another thing I tweeted out yesterday after the game. Barrett Carter is the most impactful player on this defense in 2022. Period. End of story. Has there been other dominant performances by other defensive players on this team this year? Yes. Myles Murphy's been a monster all season when he's been on the field. KJ Henry's been a monster all season. I'm just telling you, to me, Barrett Carter is the best. No, not even the best. That's not the right word. I want to keep it the way that I said it the first time. The most impactful player on this defense. The guy can do it all. He's big, he's fast, he's smart, he's got good hands, he's got good instincts, and I believe he's the best tackler on the football team. Between him and Andrew Mukuba, I think they're the two best tacklers on this football team. And of course, Barrett Carter completely balled out yesterday at linebacker position with Trenton Simpson being out. And he also had an interception. So shout out to Barrett Carter, the best defensive player, the most impactful defensive player on this Clemson team. Of course, I'm not going to go through this video without any sort of criticism. You got to criticize something, right? So Clemson's inability to stop the run, and look, it was a huge mismatch from start to finish in the line of scrimmage, right? I mean, Clemson's defensive line was mauling, absolutely mauling Louisville's offensive line all game long. Felt bad for Louisville's quarterback, Malik Cunningham. He was already hurt coming into the game. He had what appeared to be some sort of makeshift cast around his non-throwing hand, which he managed pretty well early in the game, but the guy was running for his life. And then that last play before the half, you know, he sort of, on that run play, he sort of fell awkwardly and he injured his throwing hand. So the guy's tough, okay? He's been playing hurt all year, and he's by far the best player on that football team. Also, I want to say, shout out to the backup quarterback that came in for Louisville. Is he as dynamic of a player as Malik Cunningham? No, but the guy went out there and he gave it his all, and he didn't play terrible. I mean, he just was up against a much more talented team defensively than they've seen all year and will see all year. So, but anyway, but when Louisville got things going on the ground, that's when you start going, uh-oh, because this is what happened at Notre Dame, right? I mean, like I said, they couldn't get too much going on those first 2 or 3 series, and then they started running the ball and getting big chunk run plays. So for anybody who's looking to stay in a game with Clemson, you know, for the remainder of the season, whether it's Miami or South Carolina or North Carolina in the ACC championship game or whoever they play in the postseason, run the ball on Clemson. Just keep trying. Eventually you'll punch through. So that's the weakness of this team. I know earlier in the season we talked a lot about the weakness being on the back end, particularly following the Wake Forest game, but we had some guys out, and Wiggins, you know, took a lot of criticism from the way he played. He got burned a few times. But those guys on the back end have really stepped up here in the past few weeks, and really the only weakness I could see anywhere on this defense at all is in the run defense. So, but anyway, a win is a win is a win, right? At this point, Louisville scored a trash touchdown literally on the last play of the game as the clocks hit 0 to make the score look a little bit closer than the game really was. It really was a dominant performance. I do think that Clemson missed an opportunity again to just put these teams away. That's something they haven't been able to do all season. Outside of Boston College, their ACC play has been letting these teams hang around. Now, the game was never really in question yesterday, so it's not that big of a deal. And anybody who watched the game, instead of just looking at the final score, knows that Clemson dominated this football game. So it is what it is. I feel good heading into this weekend against the Miami Hurricanes. Miami's having a terrible season. They've had some ups and some downs. Yesterday, they had a dominant performance against a bad Georgia Tech team. What does that really mean coming into this week? Probably nothing other than the fact that they may have some sort of confidence coming into Death Valley based on their performance against Georgia Tech. I don't know. I'll be at the game. So any of you who are going to be there, I'll be posting videos while I'm up there We're going up Friday, and then we'll obviously be there. We'll be there Friday and Saturday night, and we're going to the game. A big group of us, both Clemson and Miami fans. So I'll let you know where we are. Anybody who wants to come say hello, hang out, have a beer or whatever before or even after the game, you're more than welcome to. I'd love to meet anybody who's going to be there. But feeling good about that game. And also, we now know who Clemson is playing in the ACC championship game. So Clemson wrapped up the ACC last week. And then last night, North Carolina wrapped up the Coastal Division. So we'll get to play the Tar Heels the first weekend of December. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup. And we got plenty of time between now and then to talk about that. And we also have to make sure we get through Miami and South Carolina before we talk about that. But that's going to be an interesting matchup. North Carolina's defense, no good. North Carolina's offense, and Drake May in particular, amazing. He's a Heisman caliber player. I know he's not really getting a lot of love in the talk, the Heisman talk, which befuddles me because they're a one-loss football team in the Power 5, and the guy's putting up ridiculous numbers. So he could be an issue. He could be an issue, and they can run the ball too. North Carolina's offense is the real deal. So it'll be an interesting game. Now, we got a lot of time between now and then, like I said. But anyway, that's it, guys, for the State of the Fan address for November the 13th, 2022. Season's almost over. We only got a couple more of these videos left, man. So anyway, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button if this is your first video of mine that you're watching. I do these videos year-round. There is no off-season for me. So I'm here year-round, do a lot of live streams and a lot of videos throughout the year. So hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Appreciate you. Your boy, checking out.